I decided to challenge myself and hopefully improve my mixed media skills by painting 20 mixed media paintings in 1 hour. So how I went about this, I'm going to tell you in this video today, and what tools I used, and I'll show you some of the work that I did and if I thought it was successful or not. Was it worth the while? So first of all, the tools that I used. To make it not insanely difficult, I used this mixed media paper, 7x10. So these are, the sheets in here are a nice heavy weight. Tore them out. There's of course a perforation so I could tear them out perfectly. And then I set them out. I laid a bunch of them out on this workbench here so that I had all 20 torn out, and then I had them all laid out so that I could work on a bunch. Well, I shouldn't say work on a bunch at a time, but move from one to the next one very quickly, because I set the timer on my phone for 3 minutes, and when that timer went off, I had to move on to the next one. So I want, I hit start again and then on to the next one. So I wanted to make sure everything was out in front of me. The tools that I used as many of my mixed media tools that I could. I had them all out in front of me. So I used the Caran d'Ache crayons. If you have not tried these crayons, I know they just look like crayons, but they are the coolest thing ever. And they actually make, this is kind of like a starter kit, but they make really big kits of these crayons. I want to get more of them. But what's cool about them is they look like a crayon, but if you get them wet, they kind of turn into paint. So I used the crayons. I used markers. I used watercolor pencils that also, when you get wet, turn into a watercolor. I use different spray paint. I have a bunch more than this, but this just gives you an example. And of course, my most favorite thing ever, I used a bunch of inks, a bunch of these different colored inks. And these markers, if you have not tried these, you must try these markers. Again, they kind of go on like, they don't look like a marker, they look more like a thick crayon, but within seconds, they're permanent wherever you put them. And they create this nice thick line. I also use these charcoal pencils, or they're called graphite. These graphite pencils, when they get wet, they are really cool. You can paint with them. So they can go on dry. If you spray water on them, they create different techniques. They'll drip, or you can paint them with a brush. So I use that as well. And then of course, I have a bottle with alcohol, rubbing alcohol in it, and another bottle with water, and sprayed that to create different techniques. And then I used a bunch of different brushes. I wanted to work with this brush. Is looking kind of bad, but I wanted to be able to work with this brush. I'd never worked with it before. I wasn't quite sure what I could do with it, and I created a lot of really cool lines with it. So I worked with a bunch of different brushes, my fingers, all of that to create some new art. And what did I think about this? First of all, it was crazy, but the good thing about it is I didn't have time to rationalize. I didn't have time to use my left brain to think about where to place things. I just had to get it on the paper and keep moving very quickly. So it kept me in a really creative space. And a lot of the techniques that I discovered in this creative space, in the 20 paintings, 3 minutes each, I'm still using. So I would highly recommend this challenge. Whenever you're feeling that your creativity is waning, or you're getting painter's block, or you find yourself getting stuck in a certain way of laying down paint. This actually originally was a Milan Art Institute Art Mastery Program 100 painting challenge, but I was in the middle of the program and I didn't want to take away too much time, so I just thought I'm gonna try 20 paintings in an hour, 3 minutes each, see what I get from that. So that's what I did. I love this challenge. I'm definitely gonna do it again. Try it yourself. Now, you wanna see how the paintings resulted? Some I think are really cool, some maybe not so cool, but here they go. Watch them now.